The sweet spot for this film was like 30 to 35 years ago. I just follow me on this, okay? I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, and click that subscribe button so we can stay together forever. This is my review of The Tiger's Apprentice. This film is available on Paramount Plus with audio description, and it's an animated film that didn't go to theaters, I guess. They would just drop this. We were just like, yeah, whatever. Paramount was like, we're financially strapped. We can't really do anything with this. It's whatever. Just kill it. Put it on Paramount Plus and at the beginning of the year. Just, I don't know. Um, it's got a really solid voice cast to it. Henry Golding, Michelle Yeoh, Sandra Oh, Greta Lee, Cherry Cola, Bowen Yang. Just it's, just a lot of really decent, sort of recognizable faces that are in this. Jo Koy. Trying to think of all of the different people as the film was on. Anyway, yeah, there's actually quite a bit of talent in this voice cast. It takes place with a lot of action right off the top, and there's like a little baby who's being protected, and we see these warriors that come in out of nowhere and they fight off these other things and these other things and then protect the baby. And then later on, baby grows up to be an angsty teen. That's the best way to describe him. Angsty teen who's got a mom that, or a grandmother, actually, sorry, a grandmother who takes care of him, and he has sort of a Percy Jackson moment at school. It's the best way to describe that. Uh, and he runs home to his grandmother, and she's all worried that now the whole world could, and Percy Jackson could see him, and because he is some special thing, and there's this special necklace that she's been protecting, and he's supposed to be some sacred warrior. And the movie doesn't really do a great job of explaining itself. But the reason why I said this movie would have been great 30 to 35 years ago is because this feels like something when in the era of TV shows that were designed to sell toys. This feels like that. But it's in 2024 and we've had all these Pixar movies and these DreamWorks movies, and now our tastes are a little bit different, so we require things like plot and character and structure, and you know, we can have it all now in animation. But back in the day, this would have been perfectly fine if this had released in theaters in the early 90s when we were doing like the live action Ninja Turtles movie. People wouldn't have thought anything of it. They would have gone out and bought their kids the 12 Warriors of the Zodiac. And it would have helped Mattel or whoever sell a ton of toys, because you would have, your child likely would have wanted to try to get all 12. Just sort of like you needed all four Ninja Turtles. I feel bad for the kids that just had one. You really did. You needed all four. It's just, what are you gonna do with just one? Who do you have? I have Michelangelo. I mean, if you have like brothers, like I guess, and each one of you has your own Ninja Turtle, then you can come together. That'd be badass. I just didn't have three other brothers, but then we could all be our own. Anyway, I'm on a tangent. This this isn't that bad of a movie. It's got a great voice cast. The only person I didn't really care for in the voice cast was Bowen Yang. I don't know what he's doing with his voice. Just be you, bro. Just be you. I don't know. I feel like somebody told you to be less gay. Uh, just tell him I'm Bowen Yang, and fuck you. And just I don't know. Just do you. It felt like Bowen was trying to do something else with his voice, and I was like, "That's Bowen Yang. What is he doing? Like, what is?" He's trying to be like more obnoxious and less gay, less, and it's like you're Bowen Yang, dude. Everybody, like, you have one of the most recognizable voices. I didn't need IMDb for you. Um, it's just it's weird choices, and I feel like it's poor direction. Somebody told him something, somebody gave him feedback about, like, what they needed from his performance, and Bowen was like, "Oh, I guess I could kinda do something a little bit different with my voice, so I'm gonna talk like." It's just no, no, just I just want Bowen Yang. I don't know why, everyone else gets to sound exactly like themselves, but Bowen Yang has to, for some reason, modify his voice. Meanwhile, like, Michelle Yeoh comes in this film, I'm like, "Oh, it's Michelle Yeoh." Okay. Know exactly who that is. Also, I did notice I'm not that familiar with her voice yet, or the actress's name, but the girl that Leah Lewis, that's her name. Yeah, Leah Lewis. The lead vocal in Elemental is in this as well. She's one of the voices. So, yeah, like I said, fantastic voice cast. The plot basically, the reason why it's Tiger's Apprentice is because when this Percy Jackson moment happens, one of the Zodiac warriors comes out. It's the tiger. There's the sign of the Zodiac that's tiger. Anyway, so Tiger comes, and voiced by Henry Goulding, and basically rescues the boy and takes him away while his grandmother is attacked and everything. It's very Percy Jackson. I'm just gonna be honest. It's like, did you read Percy Jackson? A lot of the same stuff is happening here, except when it no longer needs to replicate the origin story of Percy, then it turns into its own film and becomes interesting in a different way, because we learn about the Zodiac warriors, and this obviously becomes really steeped in, like, Chinese culture. I'm sure this film must have been released over in China. I can't imagine you are wasting. If Paramount made this for an American audience without sending this to China for release, why? Like, why would you do that? Why would you create warriors for the signs of the Zodiac and then not release it in the country that has, like, the second largest box office, at least? I'm sure they probably would love the hell out of this. Anyway, um, yeah, it's relatively entertaining. It just has no depth to it. So that's why I was saying it feels like back in the day when we used to have Saturday morning cartoons that were, biker mice from Mars, and just random things that were all sort of like replications of Ninja Turtles. Like, we were trying to come up with another ninja, and cartoons that looked like them, like they were directly knockoffs of something else, like the Smurfs, and then the snorkels or something. The snorks. What were those underwater ones? They had, like, the horns. Anyway, yeah. So it feels like it should go in that period. Obviously, it probably looks way too modern for that, but the vibe of that is very much of that period where it feels like after the film I wanted to go out and buy 12 action figures, but it doesn't really have the emotional weight that we now get from a lot of our films. um, it is enjoyable. I enjoyed it more than last year's Ruby Gillman, which has sort of like the same thing where you have a girl who sort of finds out all this stuff about her family and is like, "What?" The whole movie. Um, the difference here being is that the boy experiences loss, and we see this whole. There's like a moth that comes down and takes the light of of his grandmother up after she. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, I don't understand Chinese culture. I'm sure this is some relevance, but there's, yeah. I was like, okay. The film doesn't really explain a whole lot. It just kind of just goes, "This is how we do this here," and go. Um, so it just does things, and you just accept it or don't. If you don't want to accept it, you can just turn it off and just walk away and just be like, "Oh, this movie's too weird." But I stayed with it. I thought the film was fine. I think your kids will like it, and it's kind of a blast. It just doesn't have a lot of emotional depth to it. Like, the kid doesn't really, like, for like 5 seconds, he's like, "Grandma!" Then he just kind of moves on with his life. It's just like, whatever. Um, yeah, there's not a lot of, like, Pixar would have had him, like, moping for like 5 minutes, just like sitting on his bed, and like the tiger would have been like trying to like get to him and be like, "Are you okay? Can we talk? Do you want to talk?" And he could be like, "No, stay away. I lost my grandmother today. I need to sit here for a while you know, just like like something. Even DreamWorks would do that, you know, like they just these other studios they realize the ability to have these serious moments and to talk about things so that kids can relate to them and adults also too. We can feel like we're not in some you know uh, really little kid thing, but no, this doesn't have it. This just immediately moves on to the next thing, and it has that sort of let's gather up the Avengers thing when it has to go get the other Zodiac warriors. Luckily, it doesn't do them all individually. Luckily, at some point after you've seen like a few Zodiac introductions, you just suddenly end up at the Zodiac temple where they can just suddenly be like, and here's the rest of them. Like uh, because that would have the whole plot of the movie would have just been them going from like one person to another. I still don't really fully understand conceptually like what was so important about the boy or what he's carrying, what his grandmother was protecting. A lot of this stuff is just like raise your fin. They just kind of they tell you, but they don't really like they just it's not what they want to spend a lot of time on. They're like, yeah, it's a thing. It's a MacGuffin. You know, just we're you don't ask questions. It's what you feel like with this movie. Are you 8? Because an 8-year-old would not ask these questions. We made this film for 8-year-olds. Um, yeah, but it's fairly entertaining. It's maybe the best thing I've seen this year so far that isn't a documentary. I think I said that to something else in another review just recently, and yeah, so of 2024, barely, but this is still not a high grade for me. So, audio description is fine. It's a very colorful, flashy movie, I'm sure, with all of the different, you know, Zodiac characters woven in here. But I just wish Paramount had done more with the film and trusted it. It was actually hard for me to follow it. I didn't watch it when it first came out. I didn't really know what it was because they didn't really market it. And then I came back around to it later on. They sent me an email later. They were like, have you seen yet The Tiger's Apprentice? I was like, oh yeah, that's right. That movie was released like 3 weeks ago and I didn't see it. Should watch that. um, and then I tried to like just browse like casually, thinking that oh, stupid me, it'll be up towards the top because I can't remember the last time. What was the last Paramount Plus original? I can find it anywhere. So I actually had to manually search for it. Anyway, weird. Tiger's Apprentice. You kids will like it. I'm giving it a B minus. Um, Luckily, it's not the late 80s, early 90s, so you don't have to buy them a whole bunch of toys because this would have launched a massive toy line. Your kids would be like, I want the rooster, I want the dragon, you know, I want the bunny. Just like all the different Zodiac warriors. Um, yeah, so anyway, thanks for subscribing. I have a website, macmovieguy.com. You can follow me on X Threads or Instagram, MacMovieGuy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. That's it for me today. I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.